Okay then, you send in the questions and I answer them. Welcome to my Q&A 5, I believe it is. Before I get started, I'm a little bit ill. I'll admit it's only man flu, so it's nothing too serious. But I'm a bit chesty, it's making me cough, so if I'm coughing and sniffling, good timing, if I'm coughing and sniffling in this video, I apologise now. I'm just a little tiny bit ill. So yeah, let's get underway. First question from Ghosts of Japan. First of all, let me say thank you for watching all my videos and commenting. You know, I appreciate it. Yeah, his question is, what do you think Hogan will do after TNA finishes or leaves? I think what he means to say is, what do you think Hogan will do after he finishes in TNA or he leaves? Oh no, after TNA finishes. I'm guessing he's saying this is in TNA, like goes flat or goes out of business, or Hogan leaves. I don't think Hogan will leave, to be honest, until he's in a good financial situation himself, because at the moment I don't think he is in a good financial situation. His divorce with Linda apparently knocked him for a few quid, so until he does get back on good financial terms, I don't think he'll be in a position where he can leave TNA. But if he is, because obviously I don't know anything about his finances myself really, I've got no solid proof. If he is in a good position, then I think he can leave TNA, and then he will come back to WWE, I think. Just do like a one-off show, not wrestling, just as in like an appearance, maybe guest host on Raw or something like that, interview segment, or something like that. DVD, they could do like a good, really rivalries DVD, Hogan versus Flair, that'd be quite good. Even though they never really had that one big match expressed in WWE, but yeah, they could do something like that. I think that's what it'll do. It'll just retire as well, go into actual retirement, something that old men need to do. Like, old sportsmen don't really get to do it, especially wrestlers. They tend to stick around the business. But that's something we as fans need to think about. That how come these guys aren't just retiring and sitting back? It is the money problems for guys like Hogan and Flair who are coming back to earn a paycheck in TNA, but if they are in a good financial position, I'd like to hear about them, you know, chilling out, relaxing, doing whatever old men do, going fishing or whatever. Next up from Super Caliente 7, in your opinion, who was a better wrestler, Karl Malone or Dennis Rodman? Obviously they both were never wrestlers, they were both basketballers who made one-off appearances in WCW. Although I was a WCW fan back in the day, we didn't get the pay-per-views over here, so I never saw their matches. So I cannot tell you who's the bigger name or who's the better wrestler, because I don't know. Dennis Rodman's the bigger name, obviously. Bigger name than Karl Malone, so he'd be better for business terms, but in terms of who's a better wrestler, I have no idea. Next up from Draco the Dragonite. Hi there, I was wondering what you think of Brodus Clay. Actually, I'm going to cut this down into a little bit. So what do I think of Brodus Clay? I think Brodus Clay is good. He's a good little, he's not little at all, he's massive. He's a good, big monster. But I think the way they introduced him through NXT made him look really weak and really rubbish, especially because he wasn't really that dominant on NXT either. It made him just look like just a random jabroni who they just brought in, sort of like that Eli Cottonwood bloke, like, you know, not much personality. Well, I sort of liked his personality a little bit, like, but he didn't really show us a lot of charisma. So that's what I think of him. Do you see WWE doing anything with him in the future? Well, obviously you must have posted this question a while ago, because they've been doing the things like the vignettes on Raw and stuff like that, and saying that, oh, he's going to come back. And then 2 weeks ago he was supposed to come back. Then Johnny Ace got on the phone and said, oh, listen, don't come. The Rock's here, I don't need to overshadow you. What I think's actually happened is, one, they're either writing the show and then thought, oh, we don't have time to put Brodus Clay's debut, and we'll just do this little skit to explain why he's not in. Or they thought, you know what, you're not ready for it yet. Especially because the way they brought him in, the way they debuted him on NXT, it's ruined him for us. It's ruined him for us at the IWC, who like know a lot more than the casual fan about wrestling, and it's ruined it for those members of the so-called WWE universe who did see him on NXT and now have seen him. So he's got to make a massive impact. So if he isn't totally ready yet, I wouldn't bring him in just yet until he is totally ready, so then they can put him in there, make a massive impact, and then everyone looks and goes, wow, this guy is going to be someone, he's a great heel, he's a monster. I wonder what they're going to do with him next. That's what they need to do with him. I don't think he is ready yet, and I think that's why they've stopped to a little bit. You put also, he has been beating up nobodies in Superstars for some time, and it feels like wasted upon him. I don't think they're putting him on Superstars anymore. They're just waiting to bring him up to the main stage. I think they might not even ever take him up to the main stage. I think they'll just wait and wait and wait, and then think, you know what, let's release him. You know, it's happened before with guys like Mordecai and who was the English one? Hayde Vanson, was it? He cut a promo, awesome, on The Undertaker. Never seen again for some reason. Must have got a bad reception. So yeah, that's that. Official Fingers MC, watching wrestling now that you watched it as a kid, what match pay-per-view angle is actually awful but you thought it was amazing at the time, if any? And which match pay-per-view angle is amazing but at the time you didn't really give two shits about, or didn't like, if any? First off, one that I really liked back then that I don't anymore, I'd have to say Survivor Series 1993. Back then I really enjoyed it, fantastic show, but then thinking about it now and also watching people review it, people like was it the Off the Rope show that reviewed it, and they were talking about all this stuff, and I was thinking, do you know what, that actually sounds rubbish now I think about it as an older fan rather than a younger fan, because you've got to remember, December 1993, November 1993, whenever it happened, I was only 4 years old, and to me this is one of my very first pay-per-views. In fact, it was the very first pay-per-view I watched at the time. Like, I watched the day after when I taped it off Sky Sports, and I thought it was amazing, it was brilliant, this is wrestling, I love this wrestling thing, it's brilliant. As a kid, I fell in love with it, fell in love with that show, and I could watch it and watch it and watch it and love it. Now looking back, now that I've not watched it for about 5-10 years, probably about 5 years, I'll probably look, if I watched it now, I probably wouldn't see it the same way, because I'd see the holes in it that I didn't see before when I was just a pure fan, a pure kiddie fan as well, of like the Doinks, the Bret Hart stuff, the Owen Hart stuff, the great stuff, Shawn Michaels and his Knights, stuff that's so crappy now that I just took for granted back then, because this is what I was introduced to first, and this is the first thing that I was seeing. I was like, oh, so this is wrestling, this is my standard, so yeah, I love this thing because it's good, and this is the standard thing. So looking back, it probably was a bit crappy, and I can't think of anything that I didn't like back then, but I do now like. Owen Hart, actually, Owen Hart, one wrestler. I hated Owen Hart back then, didn't see his worth whatsoever, but now looking back I see that he was a fantastic heel. Great foil for Bret Hart. Bret was the best wrestler in the world, I believe, but on his day Owen was even better. Watch the matches they had back then, Owen could outperform him, I believe. Next from Supreme Caliente 7, another question by him. Yeah, I don't mind if people put in multiple questions. Do you think the Attitude Era would survive in the current times? With all the social media and inside information we frequently come across today, would it have the same impact as it did in the 90s? No, I don't think it would survive today. Not because of the inside information or social media or anything like that. And I'll get onto the impact thing later. I don't think it would survive today for the fact that the WWE is now a publicly limited company. So basically, they have to worry a lot more about their public image, because they've got to focus more on making money through selling shares and stocks and stuff, business stuff that I've got no idea about. So I'm going to not talk so much about that portion of it. But now they've got all that stuff to think about, they can't do stuff that like pushes the boat. And when now you've got stuff like, you've got a lot of people like Glad coming out who like, if they say something negative about the WWE really needs to sit up and take notice of it nowadays. Whereas in the old days they could just be like, fuck off, doesn't matter, it's nothing to do with you. But now they're trying to sell these stocks and these shares and whatever. Now they've really got to be careful. So I don't think they'd do it. I don't think they'd do stuff like the Attitude Era, where it was so in your face and it was so like some rude boy stuff and in your face. You know what I mean? Like, you can push the envelope. You can make things exciting like they were, like doing stuff, pushing the envelope, doing different things that haven't been done before, but not in the same way as before, not all the rude stuff and etc, because I don't think it would go down too well with the WWE shareholders. Next, Divino1994 from Sale, Manchester. Who do you think CM Punk will face at WrestleMania 28? Do you think it'll be Daniel Bryan? Or do you think Daniel Bryan will win the world title? I think it could be Daniel Bryan versus CM Punk, in all honesty. We all thought of this when what was the show? Money in the Bank came around and CM Punk won the title and then Daniel Bryan won the Money in the Bank. We all thought, oh my god, WrestleMania could be, we could get these two in a main event match. It could happen at WrestleMania now. CM Punk says he's not going to lose the title and Bryan says that he's going to cash in at WrestleMania. That'd be a great match. It's pretty much a dream match, one that is more likely to have been seen on ROH, but now we could get a WrestleMania. That could be amazing. So yeah, that's what I think of that. Next from Mr. Jakey Boy 16 from Sutton. Do you think Brodus Clay will be booked right and given good storylines when he comes back to Raw next week? And what do you think of the man? Well, I've sort of covered it already, but Will he be given good storylines? I hope so. I think that's what they're trying to build up. They're trying to really build him up as a big monster hero, give him the world title at some point, I believe. And yeah, he won't be a main champion like a Cena or a Bret Hart or a Shawn Michaels or a Randy Orton. He'll be more of a Mark Henry, a Kane, a Great Khali, just a monster to hold it for a while so that superhero good guy can beat him and finally go over that a little bit more. Another one from Supreme Caliente 7. Are you a fan of mixed martial arts? If yes, will you be doing videos? If you're not a fan, why not? I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, or more specifically at UFC. I won't be doing videos mainly because I don't know a lot about it, and it's the reason why I don't do videos about indie wrestling that much is because, or Japanese wrestling or Mexican wrestling, is because I'm a fan. I watched little bits, but I'm not a big fan, and I don't know a lot about it. So I don't want to come across as a poser and like do lots of videos and talk about it a lot, because at the end of the day I do know very little about the subject. I don't mind if people ask me in the Q&As and stuff questions about it, then I can give my opinion, but I don't want to be making videos about it and trying to tell people my opinions on it, especially when I don't know a lot about it. I will, if I do make videos on it, I will say that, for example, ROH, I will say that how long I've been a fan of it for, and I do not know as much as other people, but when it comes to MMA, I've been a fan of so little, and there's so many different fighters to just catch up on all at once that it's really hard to like become an expert on it and become to the situation where I'd feel comfortable talking about it really, because I don't know that much about it. Next, Pirate the Pete from York. Alright mate, what do you think about the possibility, or lack of a Sting Undertaker match? I think this is very unlikely to ever happen, in all honesty. Sting's in TNA, and I can't see him ever leaving TNA, in all honesty, and that's just my opinion. From Skillage Stars from Manchester, England. What is your opinion on WWE not having a pay-per-view in England or the UK? For that matter, just because of the time difference. I think the most important thing for pay-per-view is that it's got to go on live. It's got to go on live. I would not pay for pay-per-view if it wasn't live. Never, 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 never. Only because you'll find out, it's inevitable that you'll find out what's happened. And if something that major did happen, then even if you don't read spoilers like I don't, somebody will tell you. Even if you don't want them to, you will come across it at some point. It'll be in a newspaper, it'll be on a website that isn't anything to do with wrestling. You'll come across it somehow. So if you are watching a pay-per-view, you want it to be live. You want that live feel about it. So I think it's annoying that they won't do it so they can air it a little bit earlier in America, but I can understand where they're coming from. But it is annoying. I will admit that it's very annoying that they won't. For example, start the pay-per-view at 9 o'clock English time, somewhere that's easily accessible for people as well, so they can get home easily. Start at 9 o'clock, it'll end about midnight. So then in America, they'll have to start at like 4 or 5 hours earlier, and I don't know what time that would be in America, but still, it's only putting the Americans out once. English people have to be put out all the time because we got to stay up till 1 o'clock for it to fucking start. I had to wait up till 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the end of Survivor Series. And it ruins it for you because you want to watch it live, you want to have that great experience of it, but it does ruin it for you because, you know, you're so tired when you're watching it and it's a bit blur. Last question now from Official Fingers MC. And if Amy's there, does she have a crush on any wrestlers? And because one of my GFs who watches with me doesn't fancy Cena, Orton and Batista, and didn't like Batista, she actually had a crush on Miz. So I'm curious if any other women suffer from this affliction. No, I don't think she does, you know. I remember like having a conversation with her, she said no, she didn't, so yeah. We can ask her next time I do a video with her and she can answer herself then, but yeah. That is me gone because I've got like 10 seconds left on my battery life, I think. So yeah, thank you for watching. Send me more questions and I'll do another Q&A soon. And yeah, subscribe above, like down below, comments and all that. See you later.